Hey everyone, and welcome to our January wrap-up. These are the books from our January to be read, discussing what we've read and what we thought of them. Not in any great detail because we're going to do a review of pretty much every book we read anyway. So all the books in this wrap-up, the links will be below for all the separate reviews from either of us. So yeah, I shall start. First book I finished this month was Hard Magic by Larry Correia, and yeah, really enjoyed this. Was a lot of fun, kind of pulpy action meets magic kind of things. An interesting magic system in here. That's the thing I enjoyed the most, was the magic system in it and how they explained it. And I can't wait to get the rest of the books and read them. And the author liked my review, so that's cool.
Excuse the hailstones.
Yeah.
So first I read Bone Shaker by Cherry Priest. I did a review like Mark did for Hard Magic. I love this book. It didn't take me very long to read. 4 days? 5 days? Not very long. It's amazing. It's really descriptive. And if you like steampunk and mechanical things and post-apocalyptic worlds and fights for survival, I guess, and adventures. It's adventures split into 2 halves. It's an amazing book. I really liked it. And part of a series which I shall be starting.
Next, I read... Ooh, get in the right order. Clive Barker's Mr. Begone. You may be able to hear the hail now. Clive Barker's Mr. Begone. This is a standalone book, quite a small one for Clive Barker. Like I said, we're going to say with all of these, check out the review below. It's a really good read. I know that Chris from Christoria 2027 really likes this book, so yeah, we both recommend it.
It's an autobiography that I read next. Easy Street by Ron Perlman. I started it way back in November, but didn't really get very far. And I finished it this month. I haven't done the review yet, though I will be doing it. It's amazing.
Yeah, you finished it quite tight into the month.
I finished it yesterday.
Yeah.
It's amazing. If you like Ron Perlman as much as I do, and I really like Ron Perlman, it kind of documents his way through life, his highs and lows. And actually, he didn't have being an actor easy at all, and he had to work really hard. And you kind of get why he loves Guillermo del Toro so much, because he kind of saved him. It's an amazing book, and there are some really surprising things in there that you just wouldn't know.
Yeah, and the only part of that I've read is the foreword, which is by del Toro, because Ellie snatched the book off me before I could start it properly. But in that, Guillermo does a whole thing about how the thing that makes Ron Perlman perfect is his imperfections, which is really sweet. And I can't wait to read that when I get round to it, because Ron Perlman's one of those actors, and the best actors always have interesting.
He's really interesting. If
lives.
you don't like swearing, don't read it, because he writes exactly how he speaks.
And also,
the person who wrote it with him writes exactly how he speaks. So he says "fucking" a lot and doesn't talk about sex, but talks about women's titties and and it's just how you think he'd talk. That's how it's written.
Yeah. So. And he's one of those actors that you never really hear that much about. He's not a method actor, but he's not far off it. Because you as soon as he's got a role, you don't hear anything else about him other than the role-related stuff.
And he's a very private person. Anything I knew previously, I'd found off Wikipedia. It's not just hanging about like it is with other celebrities. You actually have to go digging for it. Is he married? Does he have kids?
Yeah.
It's not just out there.
And obviously we love Ron Perlman because of his close relationship with del Toro. He's basically in all of his movies.
And he's the reason we started Sons of Anarchy.
Yeah. So, the last 2 books are things I've read. Ellie's had quite a chock-a-block week with work and personal things and just things going on. So she hasn't really eaten books like she usually would. And as you all know, when you haven't read for a while, there's a bit of a easing in period. For me, I don't know why, but I've found it really easy this month and got through 4.
It's like relearning to read for me, though, because I scan read. And that, if you're reading a really in-depth book, you don't understand what you've read.
Well, it's the difference, isn't it? Some of the stuff you read can be scan read because it isn't exactly deep.
Like with Harry Potter, the first time I read them, I scan read them because I was so eager to get through. I got through them the day I bought them. but I had to reread them. And with these, I didn't have the time to reread, so I had to almost read properly, which is not something I generally do. So it took me a little bit longer than it would usually.
Yeah. All right, so the next book was my favourite of the month, and that is Rivers of London by Ben Aronovich. I have the review. I'm not sure if it'll be online before or after this video, but there will be a book review for this that I do, and I get very excited in it. I loved this book. I haven't loved a book for a long time. I use the word love with books quite a bit, and I truly did love this. I enjoyed the characters, I enjoyed the world building. I thought it was different to have a present day London as a setting. I assumed it would be boring, and it's anything but. It's also enjoyable to have a police procedural that isn't some random forensic person who finds a vampire or something like that, which is like 20 different of them. So yeah, I really enjoyed this, and it did everything it said it would. And because of that, I am forcing Ellie to read it for her February list, because I want to talk about it with her. And then finally I finished this a couple of days ago, just because I finished the other 3 books, but I didn't want to start another full book. Finally, the book I read was Piecemeal June by Jordan Krall. This is a 70-page novella. Just throw the book at Ellie. Yeah, it is a screwed up book. It really is. You have to know what you're going into with most Bizarro stuff. There's lots of swearing and lots of things being put in places and creatures that are half one thing and half the other, and it's a crazy book. I like it when I'm in the mood to read that kind of thing. It's not a thing I like reading a lot, but I enjoy it when it's funny. And this one is basically about a tarot reading cat that starts bringing home pieces of a sex doll to his owner. Yeah, there's lots of other stuff as well, but it's 70 pages, so it kind of rams it all in. But I enjoyed it, it was fun.
I opened it at a very rude page.
Yeah, so close your ears if you're a young child, and if not, basically, there is a second world. There's 3 worlds mentioned in the book, but only 2 you meet people from. There's a guy called Simon who's called the God of Whores, and what he does is he gets pieces of body parts sent to him from mobsters in our world, and then he turns them into big lumps of orifices and legs, which he calls his harem, which are all diseased, and he randomly goes around and fucks them.
And I read it at a bit where he fucked an armpit and pus sprayed all over the ceiling.
Yeah, apparently in that world, the more diseased a genital is, the more arousing it is.
So, children beware, that book is mad.
Yeah, so that's our wrap-up for January, guys. Sorry if we went off on a bit of tangent or explained the books a bit too much. In the next ones, we'll try and keep it a little bit down, because there are whole reviews. All 6 of these books will have their reviews linked below, whether I do them or Ellie's done them. So yeah, and a couple of days after this one, you will probably get our February to-be-read list, which will be what we plan to read in February, as you would probably expect. Cheers for watching, guys, and we will see you in the next one. Bye.
Bye.